And I want to just acknowledge that March is also Women's History Month. And I looked up to see what the theme is. They have a theme for every Women's History Month. And the theme for this year is Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future. And so I love that because we're stepping into our new theme that's based on two powerful words that invite us to lead the change, that invites us to imagine a world that is sustainable, that is expansive. And so those two words that are grounding us this month is what if. So last month we were invited to embrace the edge, right? And we were guided by questions. And so this month we are invited to use our imagination to contemplate the what if. So what if the imagination is not childish? I remember when I was a little girl, I would daydream. I would just be off in my own little world. And I would sometimes get in trouble in school because I would be daydreaming instead of listening to the teacher. I see Sue also in the same boat as me. I never got detention, but I was close many, many times. So, what if the imagination is not just fantasy? What if the imagination is not escape? What if the imagination is our spiritual technology that we get to use? So this month we are leaning fully into imagination as the seed for transformation, as we dare to see the very, very best in ourselves and in one another, as we imagine a world that Global CSL vision is a world that works for everyone. I like to say a world that is rooted in the highest good for all. So today we begin our what if theme with a world of pure imagination. Ernest Holmes grounds us in this theme when he says this in The Science of Mind. It's on page 156 if you want to refer to it later. Ernest writes, when we use our creative imagination and strong faith, it will create for us out of the one substance whatever we have formed in thought. In this way, we become a creator with God. So I'm going to share that again. When we use our creative imagination and strong faith, it will create for us out of the one substance whatever we have formed and thought. In this way, we become a creator with God. So we are creators. We are not spectators. We are not bystanders. We are not victims. We are creators. And if we are creators, what are we here to do? We are here to create. Yes? And we create all the time, consciously or unconsciously. We are creators. Holmes also writes that spiritual substance is all around us, waiting to be formed. And I think Ernest Holmes is very intentional with his words. He says strong faith, so you can't be wishy-washy with the faith. And he said the spiritual substance is waiting to be formed. What is the spiritual substance waiting for? It's waiting for us. It's waiting for us to tell it what form we are creating. So it's not withholding. God doesn't withhold from us. Spirit doesn't resist us. Spirit doesn't deny us. Spiritual substance is waiting for us. Holmes goes further and he writes, the divine urge within us is God's way of letting us know we should push forward and take that which is awaiting our demand. The divine urge within us is God's way of letting us know we should push forward and take that which is awaiting our demand. So the divine urge is that idea that you can't shake, that vision you keep seeing, that holy dissatisfaction with what is. Because I know I have some holy dissatisfaction with what is. So that divine urge, that push, that pull that you feel within yourself, some of us label it as anxiety. It's not anxiety, it's an invitation. It is something that is calling to you within you. So I'm in a writing group, and we just finished reading Mark Nepo's book, The Fifth Season. Highly recommend it, y'all. And Mark writes about yearning. And when I read the word, when I saw the word yearning in the book, it immediately made me think about the divine urge. And Mark writes this: a yearning we are born with, akin to that which makes a flower open as it reaches for the sun. Just imagine that, a flower opening as it reaches for the sun. That's the divine urge. That's the push forward. He goes on to write that without this yearning, there is no spring in nature or in the human heart. The ache that accompanies such a yearning is not a sign that something is missing or that we are deficient, but sublime proof that we are born to grow towards each other while being who we are. And though the flower never reaches the sun, it blossoms in its full beauty where it is. So right where we are, we blossom. There's nothing missing within us. We have everything that we need by divine design. That yearning that you feel, that divine urge that's pushing you forward is awaiting your demand. Awaiting your demand. So the divine urge is just like that flower. And we get to blossom right where we are. We don't have to go anywhere, y'all. We can blossom right where we are because we are living in a time, again, marked by conflict, marked by disconnection, marked by this acceleration of technology that we can barely keep up with, that for many people is at the root of disconnection, of isolation. So I hope that your what if is not, what if it gets worse? I hope your what if is not, what if we lose more? I hope your what if is not, what if everything falls apart? But imagination is a neutral power. Imagination has no judgment towards what we imagine at all. It just says yes. It just says yes. So the question is not whether we are imagining. The question is, what are we imagining? Are you imagining blossoming or withering? Holmes says that when we cultivate faith in external verities like truth, love, and beauty, it is not a difficult task. It is a thrilling experience. When you follow that divine urge, there's like an energy. You are excited. You might be nervous, or what my Zola says, you might be nerve-sighted, but that's okay. That is okay, because imagination is supposed to feel alive. So our companion book this month is Multi-Species Cities, Solar Punk Urban Futures. Now, y'all, I should say that we are following Global CSL's topics, themes, and books, because I have never heard of the word solar punk. Has anyone ever heard that term? The book is Multi-Species Cities, Solar Punk Urban Futures. So I had to look up solar punk. I was like, what in the world is solar punk? Solar punk is a literary, artistic, and social movement that envisions a sustainable, optimistic future where humanity lives in harmony with nature, powered by renewable energy. Solar punk serves as both a genre for imagining a better world and a blueprint for actionable ecological and social change. I said, well, I guess I'm a solar punker then, because I'm all for that. So the book is comprised of 24 stories. I got the ebook. It's only $4.99 on Kindle. And the four stories are centered in future ecosystems where humans coexist with other species. It tells the tales of justice, sustainability, and interspecies relationships and optimistic city visions. And I found out that there's a building in Australia that was built based on solar punk consciousness. So I invite you to check out the book. I'm going to check it out. But I say all that to say that we have the opportunity to imagine, as the book does, what cities might look like if the ecosystems strive for multi-species justice. We need justice for the human species. We need justice for all species. And so that question, what might city ecosystems look like if we strive for multi-species justice, is a spiritual question. Solar punk imagines and uses its imagination to ask the questions. What if our cities were rooted in sustainability? What if technology served harmony instead of domination? What if justice included more than just human beings? So communities forming friendships across species, urban futures shaped by inclusion, sustainability, and hope. So some might be saying, yeah, Rev Melissa, that sounds good and lovely. But I say it's all possible if we demand it. If we demand it, if we start using our imagination, anything can be engineered, anything can be envisioned. So before justice becomes policy, it is imagined. Before equity becomes a structure, it is dared in consciousness. And so if we can imagine cities where humans live in reverent relationship with the earth, then surely, y'all, surely we can imagine communities where we live in reverent relationship with one another. So it invites a sacred pivot. If imagination shapes the world, what world are we shaping? What world are we shaping? And more specifically, what are we imagining for Rockland CSL? What is your what if for our community? I was imagining this over this week, preparing for the sermon today. And my what ifs that came up were, what if Rockland became a lighthouse of spiritual innovation in a world hungry for meaning and connection? What if we became known as the center that rocks, where spirit is alive, music is vibrant, and love is practical? What if we became a sanctuary for the human and the more than human species? I could be in service with some trees, y'all. Oh, yes, I can. What if our service offerings expanded to touch generations we haven't yet reached? What if young people, we need some young people, y'all. What if young people found here a language that speaks to them, that is in tune with their spiritual intelligence? What if our music was always live with a Raise the Roof choir? What if, y'all? What if? Yes, yes, y'all. But for many, and I know no one here, for many, the what if is small. The what if is limited. The what if is based in the past, but we are being invited to say, what if we stop imagining what we are not? Stop imagining what you are not. What if we stop rehearsing smallness? What if we stop narrating our limitations? What if we stop defining ourselves by yesterday? Because Ernest Holmes reminds us, if the good were not already ours in the invisible supply, it would not be possible for us to procure it in any manner. So that means the future of Rockland CSL is not something we manufacture from nothing. It already exists in the invisible supply. It's already part of that spiritual substance. So we are not creating something out of nothing. We are revealing what is already seated in spirit. Oh, come on now. It's already there, y'all. Can you imagine it? Can you feel it? It is seeking to be expressed through us. Solar Punk says imagination. They are imagining cities of harmony. Science of Mind, our teaching says form it and form it through strong faith. Demand it. Both are telling us the future is first within. The future is first internal. So let me ask you, what if we truly, truly, truly believe we are creators? What if we really believe that? What if we really knew that? Imagine this with me, y'all. Just close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath. See Rockland CSL 5 years from now. See our space full, not just with bodies, but with presence. Hear the vibrant music. Feel the laughter. See the children asking questions about spirit. See partnerships in the wider community. See sustainability woven into our operations. See joy. See equity. See love embodied more fully. Just imagine that. What if we demanded that? It's not a wish. It's not a hope for. It is spiritual substance awaiting form through us. You can open your eyes. Did anyone imagine it? Yes, I see you, Christine. I see you, Sekou and Fee. I see you, Donna Marie. I see y'all. Ernest Holmes says the law must work in compliance with our demand. What are we demanding? Are we being compliant with the law? Are we demanding growth or are we demanding limitation? Have we bought into the narrative about how churches and centers are dissolving? Have we bought into that? I have to catch myself because I'm right there in the story saying, oh, yeah, it's the end. We have to stop that conversation in our tracks. Are we demanding expansion? not just in bodies, in consciousness? Or are we unconsciously rehearsing smallness? Imagination is not an escape. It is the first act of transformation. Multi-species cities imagine justice across species. And in our teachings, we imagine humanity as creators with God. So this month, we dare to imagine a world that works for the highest good. We dare to imagine a Rockland CSL that is magnificent in all ways, shapes, and form. And we get to begin right here with us. So remember, the divine urge within you is not random. It's not an accident. It is God pulling you forward through your consciousness. It is the yearning to blossom. And if the good were not already ours in the invisible supply, we would not imagine it. So what I know is that there is a collective consciousness that uses the imagination to amplify fear. There's major political and cultural movements that they don't just appear. It's not an all of a sudden thing. They were first imagined in consciousness. Then they were articulated. And then they were organized. And then they were implemented. Project 2025 didn't just happen out of nowhere, y'all. It was imagined, written, articulated, organized, and now it's being implemented. Are you willing to imagine and write and organize and articulate and implement Project Love? Are you willing to imagine a world that is led by Project Love? Oh, that makes me so excited, because the same law that responds to fear responds to faith. Remember, imagination is neutral. So the same law that responds to fear responds to faith. And what we imagine together at Rockland CSL, it becomes the blueprint for what we build together, for what we demand, for love. Love is strategic, creative. It is an organizing power. And we are the ones called to imagine it into form. So let us use the power of our imagination, the power of the divine urge to birth liberation, healing, and holy possibility. Let us become the conscious creators of a world that is rooted in oneness. That is our vision. A world that is rooted in oneness. Not someday, now. In our imagination, that will take form. So what if this is the moment, y'all? You can't wait until someone else is in office. That White House has nothing. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Our power is not there, y'all. Our power is within us. Yes? So what if this is the moment? What if we are the generation? What if Rockland CSL is positioned for more than what we have allowed ourselves to see? What if it's not a question of doubt? It is a doorway of faith. And not just any kind of faith, a strong faith, a faith of God. What if we are not waiting for permission? What if we are not waiting to be rescued? What if we realize that we are creators, that we are the ones that we have been waiting for? It's said so many times. But what if it's true? We are the center of love and joy. We are rooted in oneness. So here is your love work. This week, use your imagination and then write down your personal what if for Rockland CSL and email it to me by the end of the month. You got the whole month. This is March 1st. You got 30 days. Use your imagination and write down your personal what if for Rockland CSL. Be bold. Express what you are yearning for. Express what you want to see blossom in our community. Let your imagination reach for the sun. Imagine what if we, and you fill in the blank. What if I, and you fill in the blank. What if spirit through me, and you fill in the blank. Imagine if the we, the I, the us, imagine that we blossom right where we are. So I want to see who will do this. Who would imagine with me? And demand. Who will show up? Who will have strong faith? We are all being called, y'all. We're all spiritual leaders. We all have what is necessary within us to create this world that works for the highest good of everyone. So let's take this into prayer. You could close your eyes if you choose to. Let's just take a breath and ground ourselves in this power, this spirit of oneness. Because we know together that there is one life, one infinite intelligence, one creative power that imagines galaxies into being and breathes beauty into blossoms. This presence is not distant. It is not separate. It is right where I am. It is right where you are. It is the divine urge within us, the sacred yearning that calls us forward, the holy impulse that whispers, be. I recognize that this one life is expressing itself as each of us, as our imagination, as our vision, as our courage to say, what if? I know that imagination is not fantasy, it's the very tool through which spirit forms itself in the world. I know that God imagined me and God imagined you, and here we are. We each are a demand of God's good. And so I affirm that Rockland CSL is a living field of divine possibility. We are a lighthouse of love. We are a sanctuary of belonging. We are a community rooted in oneness, expanding in joy and thriving in spiritual innovation. The good we seek is already present in invisible supply. It is awaiting our recognition, awaiting our demand, awaiting our faithful imagination in action. I affirm that we imagine boldly, we articulate clearly, we organize lovingly, we implement wisely, because fear has no authority here. Limitation has no claim here. We choose to imagine love into form. The divine urge blossoms through us right now. Project Love is not someday. It is alive in our hearts, in our consciousness, and our shared commitment. I am grateful for the divine urge. I am grateful for my divine urge. I am grateful for your divine urge. I am grateful for our collective divine urge. I am grateful for the yearning to blossom and grow beyond what we have known. I am grateful for our consciousness of love and joy. I am grateful for each one of us and our willingness to expand beyond what we see with these physical eyes. I am grateful for the boundless imagination of freedom and justice and truth and oneness right here and right now. I am grateful that our world of pure imagination comes into form through and as each one of us now. And so I release this word into the Lord, knowing that love responds with a yes, knowing it acts, knowing it manifests in divine right order for the highest good for everyone and every species. And knowing that this is the truth, we say together, and so it is.